Oh God, no. Please, no, the sun is gone and the moon is gone, the stars are dust, and I'm dying. Please, no, oh God, please.
Please, Andrea. You're the only person who can help me on this.
Tiberius pleaded with me. We stared each other down across the universe of my tiny cubicle. I'd been trapped inside since 10 that morning, trying to force my way through some week-old paperwork. It had been a relatively normal day, full of the usual coffee runs and bottled-up rage when Tiberius slunk in through the door. Tiberius and I get along pretty well, considering we interact mostly at work. He has a strong nerdy streak that expresses itself mostly through science fiction, namely Star Trek. He's tall and imposing, despite being just a touch introverted. His auburn hair pairs nicely with his wife's red curls. We hit it off right away when he started working here. Although I'm more into horror than sci-fi, we both discovered in each other a deep interest and belief in the supernatural. Our conversations were usually filled with aliens, ghosts, ectoplasm, and demons. Still, I never would have expected a request like this from him.
Cassie's just so different now.
Cassie is his wife's name.
Ever since we started remodeling the basement, I think maybe we disturbed something residing in the house. Please, can you just come look with me? I don't want to do this alone.
If it had been anyone else, I wouldn't have done it. But I liked Tiberius, and I liked Cassie. Besides, I knew Tiberius wouldn't get me involved in something dangerous. He probably just wanted advice on how to deal with it. That was all. All right. 7 p.m., Wednesday, July 1st.
It started just a few days ago.
Tiberius said as he led me through the foyer toward the back of the house.
You know how sometimes in old houses you can find secret rooms? Even if they've been sealed off, you can usually tell because the wall is hollow. Well, as we were working, I discovered that the floor was hollow.
A sub-basement? I wasn't an architect, but this was all sounding very strange.
Well, not exactly.
I could hear his strained nerves pulsing through his voice. He was badly shaken by whatever they'd found. We descended the basement steps just off the kitchen. That was when I saw Cassie. That was when I finally understood the severity of the situation. A large portion of the center of the basement floor had been ripped out, exposing a deep, gaping tunnel that extended indefinitely under the house. On her knees at the edge of the hole was Cassie, staring blankly into the darkness. She looked as though she hadn't showered in days, her red curls hanging in greasy tangles around her face. She was smeared with dust and dirt. As she knelt, she leaned over the hole, her hair dangling down into the darkness, her eyes fixed on whatever was inside.
Cassie? Andrea is here. She wants to talk to you.
Cassie continued staring into the abyss. I moved closer on stuttering feet, crouching down next to her, trying to resist the urge to just yank her away from the hole. Cassie? Are you okay? She was muttering to herself. I reached out and brushed the hair out of her eyes. I shrieked and stumbled back. Tiberius shouted in response, already on edge from his wife's strange behavior. Her murmuring grew louder.
Oh God, no, please. No, the sun is gone. The moon is gone. The stars are dust and I am dying. Please, no. Oh God. Oh God, no, please, no. Oh God, no, please. No, the sun is gone.
She turned to face me for a second, and Tiberius saw it too.
Please.
In a split second, something shot out of the hole, something long and gray. It slithered around her neck like lightning and pulled her back into the darkness with it. Cassie! I I ran to the hole, screaming her name, too terrified to reach my hand in and risk my own safety. Cassie! All the while, Tiberius was muttering behind me.
Did you see it? Her eyes. They were completely white.
Cassie! We spent the whole night screaming into that darkness, straining our eyes in vain against that pulsating blackness. Yes, at this point, I understood one small thing out of this whole mystery. That darkness was alive. It throbbed against my voice as my rage, desperation, and misery echoed into its chasms. It was like it wanted to swallow me up, too. It was around 6 a.m. when I realized that the darkness wasn't just darkness. If I really concentrated, I could see, sort of. I leaned over and stared harder into the hole. I heard Tiberius asking me something, but his voice drained out of my ears as my eyes felt through the darkness. At first, all I could see was the vague curvature extending somewhere down the tunnel. I noticed that the air was warmer over the hole, too. I waited for my eyes to adjust further. I began to see more curves, more tiny little glints in the darkness that I couldn't quite place. I don't know how I snapped out of it. I don't know what prompted it, what saved me. Maybe it was something within myself, but I suddenly felt my feet drive hard into the ground and my body throw itself backwards. I crawled until I was leaning against the wall, my breathing tearing through my throat like a hot knife. Tiberius was staring at me with a mixture of horror and immense relief.
Did you hear me?
What? What are you talking about?
You were kneeling over that hole the entire day. You wouldn't answer me, wouldn't even look at me. Your eyes were starting to look like Cassie's. And, oh God, you wouldn't stop talking.
Talking? I felt ice forming in my spine. All the while, I could feel that there was something just on the tip of my brain, something begging to be acknowledged.
You just kept talking about darkness and muscle and hunger.
Hunger. My brain roared to life. The curves of the hole clicked into place in my memory. My mind was so loud that it found vent through screaming in my own voice. Oh God, Tiberius! It's a throat! It's a fucking throat! The force of my words startled Tiberius, and he stumbled back. Right into the hole. His arms sprawled just over the edge of the darkness, clawing at the rotting wood of the basement floor. He was screaming for me to help, but I was paralyzed. Somewhere in my mind, I knew what would happen. The darkness had told me. That long, gray, tentacle-shaped tongue flicked out and wrapped itself around Tiberius's neck. He hadn't been hypnotized by that blackness, unlike Cassie, so he screamed and fought back. The tongue yanked him away from the edge of the hole and flexed. The sharp snap of Tiberius's breaking neck stabbed its way into my brain. The tongue slithered back down into the hole. No, the throat. And I felt the ground rumbling beneath me. I ran. I ran faster than I've ever run in my life. On my way out of the house, I tripped on a stone and went sprawling forward. In my mind, that stone became a prehistoric tooth, and my legs pumped even harder to carry me away from that cursed place. Even after I stopped to think, I could reach no conclusions about what had happened in that house. I knew only a few things, but they were enough. Cassie and Tiberius had been eaten, mostly, alive. They had unleashed something deep in the ground, something that had been sleeping until just now. And whatever it was hungry.